Whether you've needed a ride to the airport, to work, or home from a night out, most of us have used a rideshare app, but the drivers say they're struggling.
And now they are asking for better pay and safer working conditions. Fox 61's Emma Wolforst talked with local Uber and Lyft drivers and brings us more.
Yeah, these drivers tell me their pay has gone down significantly in recent years, coupled with the rising costs of living and inflation and what they call a lack of transparency from these rideshare companies.
Rideshare and delivery app drivers are at the tip of our fingers.
8 deliveries of Walmart.
But those behind the wheel, like Alex Johnson, say they're struggling and need state help.
People need to be able to feed their families. The time is now.
Johnson has been driving for nearly 6 years.
Drivers should be treated equally as every other laborer in the state. It's about fair and equal measures.
She's now pushing the state legislature to pass a bill she says will help drivers like her survive.
A lot of times these companies are lying to nutmeggers that they are giving us 75% of the pay. That is not true. By the end of fees and everything else, and not even counting gas and everything outside we have to pay towards our cars, we're ending up with 30%.
This legislation would create transparency by requiring companies to give drivers a detailed receipt with a breakdown of the cost of the ride, including the time, distance, and pay rate.
If they don't tell us how much a passenger is paying, then we can't use that to our advantage to basically fight for our own rights.
The bill would also require the company's messaging to drivers be available in both English and Spanish and prevent companies from suspending or banning drivers solely for filing a complaint.
If drivers cannot communicate with these companies, how can they understand what the standards are for the driving and for the road?
There is some opposition to this bill, notably from the Connecticut Business and Industry Association, which submitted testimony saying this measure, quote, adds onerous reporting and administrative requirements that in many cases are already being done by the companies impacted. A representative for Uber also called the provisions in this bill onerous, adding they, quote, not only don't serve the goal of increased transparency, but could also have unintended consequences for riders and drivers.
Now, a similar bill was brought up last legislative session, but never made it across the finish line. This year, advocates tell me they're more hopeful. Reporting in Hartford, Emma Wolforst, Fox 61.